Forged from the love of liberty in the fires of hope and prayer, with boundless faith in our destiny, we solemnly declare. Side by side we stand, islands of the blue Caribbean Sea, this our native land. We pledge our lives to thee. Here every creed and race find an equal place, and may God bless our nation. Here every creed and race find an equal place, and may God bless our nation.
Heavenly Father, we come before you at the start of this new day, giving thanks for life, for health, and the opportunity to serve through this station. We ask for your divine presence to guide us in all we do. Bless this broadcast, that it may be a source of inspiration, joy, and unity to all who tune in. Whether near or far, may our words uplift, our music heal, and our message bring light to those who need it most. We pray for our listeners wherever they may be. Grant them strength for the day ahead, peace in their hearts, and success in all they put their hands to. Cover those traveling with your protection and those at home with your comfort and provision. Lord, may everything we do bring honor to you and be a blessing to others. Guide our steps, bless our efforts, and let this station be a vessel of positivity and hope. In your name we pray. Amen.
Your voice, your soundtrack, your station. New Era TT Radio. Net Radio.
Viking. Just now. Take a chip, take a chip, take a chip, take a chip now. Hey, shake it, hip, shake it, hip, shake it, hip, shake it, hip, wow. We are the sound of 100,000 coming on the road. We are the vibration that you feel when the music lows. We are the mud and the oil, and we come the dirty of the clothes. I bet the girl them wine and strike the electric pose. Hey, take a chip, take a chip, take a chip, take a chip now. Hey. Take it, shake it, shake it, shake it, hip now. Hey, take a sip, take a sip, take a sip, take a sip now. Pine and go dip, and go dip, and go dip, and go dip now. Hey, I swear we are the sound them selectors play every day, making you sway. Hey, and when the girl them telele and shadow dingole, I hear this one God say, hey, we are the sound of soca. Soca, big bad soca, big bad soca. Hey, when we play, everyone start dancing in the middle of the road. Cause we don't need no permits to free these hearts and soul. Hey, Tuesday morning we trip with snake and a cricket and a toad. Cause everything is everything, and that time anything goes. Take a chip, take a chip, take a chip, take a chip now. On the left, on the left. Shake it, hip, shake it, hip, shake it, hip, shake it, hip, wow. On the right, yo. On the right. Take a sip, take a sip, take a sip, take a sip now. Yeah. Pine and go dip, and go dip, and go dip, and go dip now. Hey. I tell them we are the sound them selectors play. Every day, making you sway. Hey. And when the girl them telele and shadow dingole, I I hear this one crowd say, hey, this is the sound of soca. Big bad soca. Big bad soca. Big bad soca.
Wake up, rise up. It's the Net Radio's Breakfast Show, bringing you the energy, music, and vibes to start your day right.
And of course, you're in the right place. Yes, you're in the right space, because this is how we are going to make your day what it is.
We are the sound of 100,000.
So good morning, Trinidad. Good morning to Tobago, neighbors in the Caribbean, friends who stream all around the globe. Good to have you, and of course, welcome to it.
And we come the dirty of the clothes.
Good to have you here. This is New Era TT Radio, the heartbeat of the Caribbean. We take you above and beyond.
Take a trip now. Hey.
Beautiful midweek Wednesday it is.
Take a hip now.
Yes, and we're happy to be in your company, happy to be in your space.
Take a sip now.
Let me say much thanks to the Heavenly Father for bringing us together for another day. Everything that we do, dear God, let it be a blessing, honor to you.
Every day, making you sweat.
The sound of soca, big bad soca, that people are yours truly, Sir Charles, and happy am I to be in your company. And of course, together with our unstoppable team, this is the Get Up and Go. We welcome everybody, wherever you are right now, to the Breakfast Show.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Wake up, it's a brand new dawn. The Breakfast Show got the vibes turned on. From Maracas Bay to the Savannah line, let's start the day in Caribbean prime. Oh, good vibes rolling through the air. The Breakfast Show, energy everywhere. We talk, we laugh, we make you think. Grab your doubles or your morning drink.
Well, good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome to the Breakfast Show this morning. Of course, it is Wednesday. It is midweek already, believe it or not. The week just kind of zoomed by, or it's zooming by, I should say. It hasn't zoomed by yet. So it is zooming by. So welcome, and of course, good morning to all our listeners and viewers wherever you are across the planet, in Trinidad and Tobago, up the Caribbean, or across the planet, wherever you might be on this Wednesday morning. I was going to say a big, beautiful good morning to you. That sounds like the big, beautiful bill. A big, beautiful morning to you. And a welcome to my co-hosts. And a good morning to them, Wendell and Sir Charles. Good morning, guys.
Good morning, gentlemen. Good morning, Richard. Good morning, Sir Charles. Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago. And good morning, listeners and viewers all over the globe. It's an absolutely beautiful hump day. Is it hump day? It's hump day.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Okay, all right. So we'll get... Now, this is the hump we're talking about, people. It's Monday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Okay, that's the hump we're talking about. The hump is that piece on the top. So Wednesday is like in the middle of the week. That's the hump we're talking about, right?
The balance sheet.
Right. Just in case you didn't.
It's so unusual for you to forget a hump and to be uncertain about a hump.
Well, it is, especially in that I have to drive over 5 of them to get to my home. 5 humps I have to do. I have to drive over every day to get to my home.
Well, look at
Anyway,
that.
we happy to be in the land of the living. Condolences to those who would have lost loved ones, and happy birthday to a few people. I have a few birthdays here. Marcel Johnson, he listens to us. I know that for sure. Junior Regrero, former mayor of San Fernando. Colin Funrose, happy birthday, Colin. And happy birthday to Annette Dopwell. Those are the 4 people celebrating birthdays today. And then anybody else, of course, who's celebrating birthdays, have an absolutely wonderful day. All right? I get up too early sometimes, and today's one of those days. I got up way too early. Since 2 o'clock, I up and couldn't sleep, and I just left my house at some ridiculous hour and came down to St. James.
Yeah, well, when you get up early and you don't have anything to do, it's like either you get up and you do something or you go somewhere.
Well, I went somewhere. I went to St. James. So I actually have a newspaper today, Richard. Look at it.
Oh, really good. So what
I
did you buy?
actually have an Express today, and I regret buying it because I'm reading some stories here. I say, my God.
Why didn't you just buy all three?
But I tell you, boy, how I just be broken, you know. You feel I have money?
What's the price of a newspaper now?
I actually is
All
working.
three, it's a whopping $11.
No, I had $5. Actually, I gave the guy the $5, and I think I overpaid him because the Express is $4.
Uh-oh.
So I gave him the $5 because that's generally what I have. I don't have $5 for papers, but because I don't buy papers again, I have $5 for a pack of nuts because I support those nuts vendors on the highway, either on the highway or on Lady Road. I tend to buy a pack of nuts. That just keep me company going up the road.
Well, next time I suggest that you stop off where you used to stop off at St. Christopher's gas station and pay with links. They will take links with the newspapers.
You know, I passed there this morning, right? And the gas station was empty because of the hour, naturally. It was just after 4. And I looked in the gas station and I said, I wonder if they have those pies that I used to buy still, boy. Because I used to get breakfast there sometimes.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, and I thought about you are all enjoy those pies from time to time.
Yeah, I did. I admit I am guilty.
I thought about it and I just said, look, let me get on you. Let me go my way. Inside of there looking a little too lonely, you know me. You know that. So I just drove on my way. But I do have an Express, and one of the articles in the Express is an article that I just stoops and poo-poo. Guess what it is? The probe into DCP Suzette Martin has a snag. It has stalled.
Oh God, they don't fed up. They really don't fed up.
I swear the TTPS is a piece of work, you know. That is a piece of work, you know. For any police officer listening here this morning, how do you all feel? And former police officers, one whom is very articulate, and he calls us from time to time. He really is very knowledgeable. But my God, how do you all feel about the TTPS? Oh,
Let me get into our good news.
please.
We only live down, yeah. We open the story. This thing cross on Tuesday morning, and everybody coming in. You ready to go, yeah? We come make them jump, we come make them turn up, we come make them wine, we come make them free up. It's the place of a canal, it's a sweet botanical, this carnival. I want you to find a way, everybody don't stay for that. If you're coming up from the mountain, but give me the beat in the song, still don't do it. It's a fire grass, it's a fire grass. You can see it over the top, play for that. When the people say you the kind of way, for that. When the people jump in the song, you come around. It's a fire grass, it's a fire grass. Yo, tell me, we up in the sun, yeah. We take over town, yeah. We make it the most. 2 days not enough, no. Love we feel it, but everybody reveling. I said they're ready to go.
Yeah, just a little Kess this morning. I was in a Kess kind of mood.
It's a good mood to be in. It's a good mood to be in.
and Kess, of course, performing abroad. And of course, you know, he had that free concert was it free? In Central Park?
Oh, in New York?
Yeah, was it free?
They say sold out, you know, so.
Maybe it wasn't free. And,
But how you could pay to go in Central Park? I don't think you could. Maybe sold out means it was so packed.
I know Central Parks, but I say Central Bank, you know where my mind goes. Theater, Central Auditorium. Central Park, I know sometimes has free concert. But anyway, I think he performed there. The other person in the other group, I suppose, could confirm. But
He was there?
but isn't he always?
Yeah.
I just wanted you to say it, not me.
But yeah, so a little Kes performing internationally, as I said, was you can't go wrong with Kes to start the morning.
Mm-hmm.
So that was our good news on this Wednesday morning.
Of course, we have a very, very serious program for you this morning. For the person who used to message and say they wanted a program like this, guess what? We have it for you today. We have an attorney, Raisa Caesar. She'll be our guest in the second hour, and she'll be talking about harassment in the workplace and various forms of harassment, sexual harassment, so many things. She is an attorney of some repute. I'm going to do her bio after the 7 o'clock news, of course, when we introduce her. She has an extensive bio. But she'll be our guest in the next hour. So for anybody who has issues in the workplace, you don't want to miss this show today, especially issues of sexual harassment, because I don't know if you all got a piece of breaking news again yesterday. Of course, I didn't see it on any other mainstream media, but I got it from reliable sources. You know what I mean? I even got suggestions of names from reliable sources. I say, wait, never done that.
Was it on social media at all?
I didn't see it on Facebook, strange enough, because I looked, but as I say, the sources that I got it from, pretty reliable. So, I mean, it's a story they'll probably try to stifle as much as possible, if it's true. You understand? But I'm sure some people could attest to getting it yesterday. About should I read it? Should I dare read it?
Well,
should I dare read it? I think
I will.
I will read part of it.
Well, this one is unverified, so you'll have to say it's.
Yeah.
No, it's unverified. It's unverified. What I'm about to read is unverified, unconfirmed. There are no names in it. But
no, there are no names. There are no names.
So it's not a problem. It says senior state official and former top attorney accused of sexual misconduct. Again, as I said, I have to repeat, this is unverified, okay? But there are no names, so there's not a problem with reading it. Right? A prominent member of the current parliament who previously made his name as a high-profile attorney is now facing serious allegations of sexual misconduct. Several former female employees from his legal chambers have submitted written statements to the police, alleging that he routinely locked them in offices and attempted to coerce them into sex. The women claim that the incidents occurred while he was still in private practice, but say they were afraid to come forward due to his rising political influence. That changed today as formal complaints were delivered to investigators. Police sources confirmed that the matter is being treated with utmost seriousness and a full probe has been initiated. That was breaking news from, as I said, reliable sources yesterday. Okay, so Peter, yeah. So that's, but in the next hour, we will be speaking with Attorney-at-Law Raisa Caesar about matters like this. You understand? So we are, you'll need to listen to that show. You'll need to listen to that show. All right? And Peter says that the show in Central Park was a paid show.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he said it was a paid show. All right? So let me greet the people on the chat. I'm sure the chat will be about.
Then we can get back to what is bothering you in the Daily Express this morning.
Sorry?
I said then we can get back to whatever is bothering you in the Daily Express this morning.
Two stories. One is about a new twist in the CPEP legal battle, and the other one, of course, is that issue of DCP Suzette Martin's investigation hitting a snag. So let me go to the chat. Susan Jessup came in at 8:27 last night. Wow. Good night. Nice topic. Days keep getting better and better. Thank you very much, Susan. You really are, you might be well considered our number one fan. Mavis Peterson Paul.
You just do there?
Huh?
What bacchanal you just do there? You just let your mouth run without thinking before you talk. So Charles, what did you say?
That is consistently consistent. I mean, we have a lot of other consistent people. You know something, Lamash?
Yeah, let's go ahead. Let's go ahead. Yes.
Mavis Peterson Paul, that's a brand new name. Says, blessings, guys. Have a great day. I will still be in bed, okay? So, but she messaged 8:32 last night. Subhash Mangal from Woodland came in at 9:49 p.m. Good day, everyone. Joyce Phillip at 11:59 p.m. So we had 4 people actually before even the day started. Top of the morning, guys. Valerie Mendoza, 12:10. Miss Mendoza, what you doing up? Making bacon bread? Good morning to the breakfast team. Suzanne Jessup again came back in at 1:56. Brennan Smith, good morning to the breakfast crew and to listeners. Just thanks for another day. Boy Bidesi from David, morning boy. I see you posing up on Facebook yesterday. Garfield Hazel, good morning, breakfast show. Susie B, blessed morning to everyone listening and viewing. Erica Charles, thank God for life. Doreen Pierre, good morning to the breakfast on Hump Day Wednesday. Wendy and James Samaranguez, Margaret Thomas, Melissa from Sharfley, Marlon Motley from North Valsane.
Good morning, Marlon.
Marlon, I know real big shots live in North Valsane. Real, it have a small house in North Valsane. They do have a small house in South Valsane.
Are you always commenting on people's business?
I know for sure in North Valsane.
Just go through the stream. Just go through the stream.
I don't know where he live. Maybe he not living in a big house. But North Valsane only a big house, Richard.
But
alive?
Go through the stream. That people's private business is not your business.
I ain't exposing nobody's business. Anne-Marie Watson, good morning to the breakfast show. Have a faith-filled day. That one is specifically for Richard. Stellar Services from New York City. There's the first time this person identifying where they are from. Slick Money Grip. Anthony Tinto from Ontario, Canada. Hill Benj. Carol Guevara, Sherwin and Juliet Kerr says good morning. Robert Taylor from Fernandina Beach. Cheryl Johnson from Malabar. Diane Payne. Wayne Ramsey from Fort Lauderdale. Odell Guy from Sangre Grande. Rena Jennings from Pity Valley. Suzanne Jessup again says, people, you all miss out. Good program with Mr. Tony Fraser and Sir Charles. It was a blazing hot topic, all about cricket West Indies. Tony suffering his poor self. I feel sorry for him with that cricket thing. Michael Robinson from Yokohama, Japan. Kathy and Charles from Cascade, of course. Steph, Kathy, didn't see you this morning. All right, that's the Jai Gym talk, apparently. Bernadette Yates, morning to Wendell, Richard, and Sir Charles. Steph, glad you're here dancing. Who's that? Okay. Lambert Bruce from El Dorado. Juliet Kerr. Sir Charles, that Mrs. Kerr's selection of music start my day with positive vibes. Okay, nicely. And Juliet Kerr is now messaging. Oh, Juliet Kerr message. Well, look at that. Josie Richardson, top of the morning, gents. Kurt Hope from Nashville, Tennessee. Chris Toussaint from Washington, D.C. Apollonius says good morning. Kurt Hope says, damn, $4. I remembered when it was $1. Yeah, it was $1 at one time. Long time ago, Kurt. Alistair Hart from San Fernando. Helen Prescott. Diane Payne. Ridiculous TTPS. Alistair Hart. No one can honestly say that they trust the TTPS. Michael Oliver. TTPS is one of the biggest corrupted TT. Ava Smith this morning. Julia Batiste. Kathy Ann Townsend said she got that WhatsApp as well. The WhatsApp that I read out just now. Anne Noel says, good morning, Wendell, Richard, and Sir Charles from Oshawa, Ontario. Shuma Paul. Magic. Jaron Joseph says, good morning. CJ from New York. And Katie also says, good morning. All right. Those are all the greetings on our chat thus far. Sir Charles, you have any?
Yeah, we got a couple of them here. Let me say good morning to Odell. Also to Anne-Marie. Anne-Marie, where are you from? Good morning to you. And Kent, good morning. Kent is out there in Laventille. Good morning to Big Guy, Rockaway. To Horatio Services, good morning. Archbishop Ashton Clark out there in Canada, good day to you. Carlin in Carenage, always on the move very early, just like Wendell this morning. And Frank out there in Frank Andrews out there in Aruka, probably just getting in from work. Good day to you and all you people on the chat this morning. Yeah.
All right, and of course, Chris said apparently there was a carnival in Baltimore. Chris sent me a message. Special thanks to all the East Coast Limers family for a successful 2025 season. Apparently there was a carnival. There was carnival in Baltimore. I know carnival in Canada is coming up soon, and I think also in in August is London and Boston and who else? Somewhere else in August. Yeah, lots of carnivals coming up soon.
Ask Corey to give us the rundown.
Corey, yeah. But he'll be out and about for the next couple months, I guess. You know. All right, so those are all our greetings. What you want to do headlines now, Richard?
Well, it kind of, we are a little early for headlines, but we could if you want to get it out of the way.
All right.
But you are the expert, so you could start, I guess.
Sorry?
You are the expert, so you could start, I guess.
Yes. CPEP board misled. That's the front page of today's Express. Attorneys argue no cabinet approval found to extend contracts. That's on the front page. On the front page also, Martin probes hits a snag, and that's DCP Suzette Martin. And there's a picture of fallen trees on the North Coast Road and members of the fire services as they clear that debris. All right, and of course, the new twist in CPEP legal battle. And I just want to read a certain part, attempted to read a certain part. Why I had cause to make some criticism the other day, and some people didn't like it. But guess what? There's an article in today's papers that says the acting permanent secretary in her affidavit filed on July 14 said she contacted the Ministry of Rural and Local Development to obtain the relevant cabinet approval, but was advised that there is no record of any note being taken to cabinet by the former minister seeking cabinet's approval for the extension of CPEP contracts. She further stated that by letter dated July 11th, she wrote to the secretary to the cabinet requesting the cabinet note and minute. Secretary to cabinet advised by correspondence dated 11 July that a thorough and diligent search of the records of the cabinet secretariat was conducted and no cabinet note or minute regarding the approval for the extension of contracts for contractors, key personnel and operational services at CPEP were located. The PS concluded that no cabinet approval was granted, right? And in the last part of the article, it says the Express sent questions to Faris Al-Rari yesterday, but there was no immediate response. In a brief WhatsApp exchange with the former CPEP chairman, Edwards said he could not comment, citing sub judice. But you read this article for this and see why I just criticize and why sometimes I just don't care. Because, anyway. So that's the front page of the Express. Dust distress, Robert Village residents frustrated with ministry project. That's also an article that's a wraparound. Robert's Village is in Tableland. All right? Plenty dust. And of course, the West Indies debacle continues, where the West Indies Cricket Board have decided, very belatedly, to bring in Clive Lloyd, Viv Richards, and Brian Lara to help them out. Too little, too late. Sorry. That's my opinion. So that's today's Express.
Newsday for today. I can start with Sister of Murdered Coke Creek Man, Vengeance is the Lord's. That's one of the stories. ACP, my star, be careful when buying used vehicles. Education Ministry gives $20 million in book grants and supplies. Munilal asked Perenco to look into oil platform protests. Ryan Lachu named CEO of Massey Motors. EMA certificate of environment process transparent and robust. Amin is praying for kidnapped victim. We talked about this yesterday. And ex-Windies captain Carl Cooper Sammy has to be held accountable. Sammy has to be held accountable. That's what ex-Windies captain Carl Hooper is saying, so in a little bit of sports. So that's it for the news day today. Of course, we can go on out to the Trinidad and Tobago Guardian with Sir Charles.
Nicely. So the main story is that CPEP story. CPEP lawyers, contractors not approved by cabinet. File goes to cops. I wonder if it's the same cops. Anyhow, ex-energy minister says Ramdeen must quickly learn ropes at NGC. Ramada hopes new Paria board will make payment soon. UNC campaign manager gets major URP post. Kamala remains unchallenged for UNC leadership post. Book grant payment begins for 20,000 students this school year. And St. Vincent Antigua PMs demand share of overflight fees collected by TNT. I think I could stop there. You could have plenty of other stories, but that is a kind of thing brewing in the Caribbean, that they say that Trinidad and Tobago seem to be in control of some fund that they need to get their share. First time I'm hearing of it.
All right. Morning to Beauty Culture, David Wares, Miguel Gonzalez, and Ambrose Blah. All right. They have joined the chat. A special good morning to them. All right.
Yeah. Everybody just gone silent, and
Richard, I don't know. Richard has been pressing up all kind of thing on that thing. I think he might be talking to someone else actually. Well, so I guess we can open the lines. I did my birthday greetings already. I guess we could open the lines early today because we may be able to open the lines in the second hour for the Attorney Raisa Caesar. She'll be our guest, as I said, in the second hour. We may be able to take calls in the last 10 minutes or so, but because I'm sure she will have a lot to cover. All right? So, open the lights. We take some calls.
All right. So, people give us a call. 281-1315. That's 281-1315. Regular calls, WhatsApp calls. We can take all of your calls. Right? So, yeah, the lines are open to you.
And morning to Amral Khan, better known as LA. He said he's been trying to get through, but he said when it's real hard to get through. It's worse. It is more trouble to get through on this show than the previous one. But we did have a chat yesterday on WhatsApp. Morning, Amral.
Yeah, well, this morning you could try it. So it's
I was trying to show a little bit of the Baltimore Carnival that you sent.
And apparently Baltimore and Washington DC yesterday.
I think I went to that one. That was a little bit of the East Coast, Baltimore, DC Carnival celebrations. I went to that one year, I think. One year I went to that.
Never been to. I did Boston once. I'm not a carnival person, but it so happens I was in the United States around that time, and we drove across to Boston.
That one year I did all. But I mean, I did all. The only one I didn't do was Miami. I did Notting Hill. I did Baltimore. I did New York, Labor Day. There was one more. I can't remember where the one more is.
Well,
All
it's
right,
almost 20 years since I did Notting Hill. I actually played mass in Notting Hill. I've told you all that story. When I was playing mass.
Hold it. We invited the callers and the
you took a call.
In between there. So, right. Caller, good morning to you.
Fix up.
Good morning, Wendell. Good morning, sir.
Morning.
Good morning, Richard. Only will kill me. Only I'm waiting like a lineup waiting for sex to talk.
Well, we good. How are you?
Yeah, Mr. Wendell, good morning.
Morning, Mr. Grant.
Yeah, oh God, you know, long you have like a lineup waiting for sex by 21. Oh God.
21, where's that?
That's a way before my time, Mr. Grant.
Way before everybody time on this show.
Well, you know, I am a human because this kind of politics we're going on now, it's just frustrating. You understand? Because there must be good old days. It ain't like now. Listen now, man. This government here, they're just playing games and they're ruling like they want to rule like Russian roulette. It's real games, I just watching and Wendell, I had to come up by the rum box and drink 2 beer with you.
Yeah, of course, you're most welcome.
Yeah.
Because I miss drinking out of your trunk, you know.
Oh God, you want everybody know my business?
They don't know your business if you're talking 21.
It's a good Morby.
Morby, yes, the Morby. I remember the Morby too.
Yeah, the Morby.
All right, Mr. Grant.
Hi, Mr. Grant. Thanks very much. 281-1315 people. Give us a call. Yeah. We can take your calls early inside
that's
the
some people wherever you go, you can rely on them to lift the trunk and your girl will drink. Mr. Grant was one of those people.
Okay.
Yeah, always.
Mr. Billy, good morning.
Yeah, morning to the breakfast show. I, sitting down here and listening to your preamble, and I heard Wendell spoke about it in terms of the West Indies. Just at the end of it now, after the horse bolted, come and appointing Sir Clive Lloyd and I think it's Brian Lara, and the other one is that
Viv Richards. Viv Richards, yes.
So I am a bit disappointed, just as Wendell Stephen is a cricket advocate too. That 27 runs what the West Indies made that was coming, you could have seen that coming, because it seems like all cricket have been reversed, it's going in the other direction. And I really seriously used to hear people speaking about having what you call it, going down to a second tier. West Indies should be considered put West Indies down to a second tier, because it seems like if our cricket is not improving, they talk about this corner. But this corner is big like the savannah. I don't understand it. West Indies cricket need to take a look at this and they need to make some serious decisions. Shami and them not cutting it. And just putting one person in charge to pick the team, captain, not captain, but coach the team, and you have all this say. That is unacceptable. And I hope that the advice that Clive Lloyd, that is Israel, could improve us, and we could see a better West Indies showing. Because it's very embarrassing internationally to hear a West Indies team just the other day celebrated 50 years of winning the 1975 World Cup and also the 1979 too. And to be bowled out for 27. They win more cricket by the center of Wendell Stevens, by the center there.
Yes.
That is the kind of cricket I had to say. I'm very disturbed. Thank you all for giving me a chance to vent that frustration on West Indies cricket. Bye-bye.
All right, Mr. Billy. Take care.
Sleepless nights on West Indies cricket.
Yes. I was telling you about my experience in Notting Hill Carnival one year. I was playing my wife and I, because she's not a carnival person either. So we were there in 2007 and we decided to play mass. So Kevin and his wife and me and my wife, and we going in this band. And people like rain decided you would. If you see people, both sides of the road lined with people watching this mass. And I'm playing mass, and I just looked at somebody in the crowd, Richard, in the middle of all these people, and I say, but why that person watching me so? And he watching me and I watching him, and I say, but I know that face. Next thing you know, I see the person wave, so I wave back. But of course, I was drinking. But when I looked good, I had to walk out of the barn and go to the person. It was Father Gregory, the priest from Fatima College, and the principal. He in the carnival, I in the carnival. He shocked to see me, I shocked to see him.
What are you doing here?
Morning, Father Gregory.
Good morning to you, caller.
I say, well, I'm safe with all these millions of people. I say I'm safe.
No,
Nobody can find me.
You never see.
I never play mass in Trinidad, you know. I got quite nothing in and I say I'm going to play mass because nobody is going to see me out there.
Hold 1 minute there, Wendell. Good morning, caller.
Hey, morning, John.
Morning, caller.
You know, I listened to the caller before about the cricket, right? Mm-hmm. And I was listening to a call-in show last night. And you know, the president of Cricket West Indies said on that show that the reason why people fighting on Sammy is because he's a St. Lucia. Now you tell me, this is the man who's the president of Cricket West Indies. And if you could say such a thing, he should resign. Because
he says so? Kid Shallow says so?
Because Sammy is the all-encompassing everything in West Indies cricket now. He's the chief selector, he's the coach of all the formats. Now the coach will be replaced, right? As Mr. Kohli, the Jamaican. The team drew 2 series and won a test match in Australia for the first time in 27 years under him. What we get under Sammy? We lose all the games we played in England. We only win 2 games, one in Ireland, one against England. And now we come and get beat 3-0 when your bowlers will have taken 20 wickets for the first time in a series from since the days of Ambrose and Walsh. Right? And the batsman can stand up to make 200 runs in 90 games and use the all-powerful coach and it shouldn't go. And then the president will say because from a small island, no, that's foolish. That is foolish.
That is foolish.
You understand? And to say that, I know the man said also 2 gentlemen, you say back him 100%, and that Sammy that was a great player compared to who? Because he went to T20 World Cups. Come on, man, that is madness. Because you come Sammy, it's so good. And Clive Lloyd, who as captain never lost a series, and we are nowhere to go but more than that. Thanks for the opportunity, John.
Yeah, man. I can't imagine anybody defending Darren Sammy in this case, you know, because it is the worst, it is the lowest we have ever gone. It had nothing to do with where he's from. Any coaching aside, would resign after resign. We have lost 3 test matches straight in 3 days. All 3 matches within 3 days against Australia, and we were bowled down for the lowest ever score. 27. Well, the lowest score that we have made, the lowest ever score was 26. We beat it by 1, and a coach still staying ahead of the West Indies board, backing that coach because he's from a small island. Oh, please! I never heard stupid.
You know,
Australia is the one team you hate to lose against, isn't it?
Everybody hates to lose against Australia because Australia does get things their way. You know, there's thief plenty, but they didn't even have to thief us.
We give it to them. Good morning to you, Suzanne.
Bless good morning to you, Sir Charles, Richard, and Wendell. Oh my gosh, watched me yesterday with Mr. Fraser, and you, Sir Charles, was epic. Them fellas all you had as guests, they were on point. You understand? I find West Indies cricketers and them just need to go by the river with our calabash and blue soap, take a good bath and come back out. That is one. One of the points they made yesterday too is they're not seeing enough young cricketers as meaning primary school cricket. because we need that. Right now, the oval right there, it's just picking up a set of grass, they only cutting every month, and it's just empty. Let the youths and them start to get involved in cricket in the school. Have a little small competition. If it's every month or you're having it or every 2 months, make it alive. And it just pay like a small fee at $10 to go in. People will come and see them just like the footballers. I find they could get Lara to be the coach to go and all because look what it is with the footballers and them. At the end of the day, them fellas and them realize here what's going on. It's not like win, lose, or draw, We losing, we still going in a 5-star hotel, eat 3 square meal, we clothes getting washed. The maid and everybody, when we get up on our morning, we make up we bed, and made to make up we bed for we. And it's just like luxury. While when I was the last man to bat, cricket was alive. After that, I said they dead. I don't know what else again. Wendell, I know. I know you had point out there, I know I did.
I don't feel no way.
I know it is. You agree with?
I don't feel no way again.
You agree with Wendell, you're supposed to agree with.
He's silently grieving. He's silently grieving.
I'm not grieving. You know what?
Or you have us on our tours. I just like the topics each and every day. So, gentlemen, you have a blessed, beautiful day, my dear. Okay. So, Charles, love you, darling. Mwah. From me, Suzette Amejama.
Imagine we pick Anderson Phillip, a young fast bowler from Trinidad, in the second test match. He bowled well. We gone to Jamaica now, and we drop him and pick Warwicker, a spinner. He don't even need to be playing on Timari, as I say. We drop Anderson Phillip in a match where we needed him. Because we might have bowled long for Australia for even less. We might have bowled long Australia where we might have been only chasing 30. You understand? But we drop him and pick Warwick. What Warwick doing in a test match side? Anybody could tell me? What Warwick doing in a test match side? Chat.
Favoritism.
Is now the coach of all the teams, and he's the only selector. How is that tenable? And he not resigning? They're leaving him there because what? He's a small islander. Why you criticize? Oh, please give me a break.
All right, hold right there. Caller, good morning to you.
I hear any passion. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. First time caller.
Hi, caller.
Welcome.
Just want to say, keep on doing the good work. Wendell, I agree with the last caller. These cricketers need to be accountable for as well as the coach. They can't be getting all this free wine and jam and ain't performing. Right is right, wrong is wrong. But at the end of the day, I must say, I love all this show. Well, keep it up, keep it up, keep it up. Tell the truth and shame the devil. Well, have a blessed day.
Thank you very much. You sound almost like Suzanne, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah. What is David Ware saying? Has Lara, Richards, or Lloyd ever coached a test team? Are they qualified? But they don't need. I don't know if that's a rhetorical sack. I don't know what kind of question is that, not David Ware's. But Lara, Richards, or Lloyd, just them being a wrong players should be able to give them inspiration because we would have used them before, not so. Well, Lloyd in particular. We would have used them before. Richards is not an easy person to get along with, but Richards must, as one of the greatest cricketers that ever passed through this earth, must inspire something. Who inspiring these people now? Sammy could inspire somebody. Reefer could inspire somebody. Huh? At least Ravi Rampal inspiring the bowlers. Well, since he come in, the bowlers have shown an improvement. You know what I mean? But you really look across the coaching staff of West Indies cricket over the last year. Them fellas can inspire anybody? No, I'm sorry. I'm very sorry.
West Indies cricket in the doghouse. Okay. The whole region up in arms right now. Mm-hmm. What can we do to save West Indies cricket? Mm-hmm. But it was an interesting conversation yesterday, and we'll play back that for you just after 8 o'clock when we come off people. So if you missed it yesterday, you can tune in this morning and you could hear it around 8:20, or you can go up to our YouTube channel and I can play it all now. It's there. Yeah.
So we still have some time to take some more calls, people. Call in. This is your time. Ron DeSantis Jr. was asking you, Richard, if you ever went to Virginia Carnival.
No.
Okay. I didn't even know Virginia had a carnival.
I've gone to Baltimore. Why I went to Baltimore, DC, is because my sister used to live in Baltimore at one point. And I had a friend who was in DC, and it's like 20, 30 minutes away by the train.
Okay.
So I used to hang in DC at a point with my partner, who I think he still lives in DC. I think he has a wine bar in DC now, but he still, I think he still lives there. So I used to kind of, when I feel to lime, because my sister and her husband ain't no limers. They ain't going no way. So it's either you're on your own or you find somebody to like with.
Okay.
Hold one minute there, guys. Good morning to you, caller.
Yeah, morning. Then me again, then Mr. Grant. Now, Mr. Richard and Mr. Wendell and Sir Charles. Wendell, you see this thing with the West Indies cricket? Are you long time?
Talk on the phone, don't listen to your device.
When West Indies was, and I always talk this, when West Indies was ruling the cricket for 19 years under Lloyd and Worrell after Worrell came to Australia, history again out there. Right? We run our own players, good players. When we was winning, we find that again all at 30. West Indies, the old people used to say the vengeance and Moko just fall on you. And that's what happened to West Indies now. We retire, we retire, we got about some of them guys and them. West Indies cricket boards was going all over the world and helping South Africa, this one, and build the cricket. We in build the cricket here, you know. In primary school, Wendell, we're trying to bring back now. I played a final against the Gregory Asgarali in 1960. Okay? North primary school football. And when we go up against War Natural, Gary Cummins, Old 4, and then with the captain. We had everything in primary school. I mean, I don't know, it's grown like we're for that now, you know. Because in Pickering School, we used to train in the Dry River. Right? In the quarry in St. Paul Street. Had to find a ground in Savannah on an evening. We had one ball when we formed on the sports club. Cricket, I played Crumpton from 1958 at the age of 13 against Rani Bab.
Well, Mr. Grant, you will go on and on and on with that history. We have some more callers coming in.
Mr. Grant, thanks so much. We can't take the whole history.
Yeah, Mr. Grant gone way back. You know what Crumpton and thing, Richard? You know them names?
No.
Read it in the history book.
Oh Lord.
I wasn't even in the beginning of sperm in my father at that point.
Caller, good morning.
But he didn't have sperm count yet. What you going to that's a chance for.
Me? I didn't say anything, you know.
Good morning, caller. I sent a possible poll. We'll do a cricket poll today.
I did a poll already, you know, Wendell.
Oh, you do a poll already?
But I'll just bring it on briefly for 5 seconds and you can tell me if this is sufficient or you prefer to go with your own. Okay?
Sure.
The 5 seconds begins now.
And everybody can.
Yeah, that's good. That's cool. Okay. I went along the same lines, but more generic. But you targeted someone. That's good.
Okay.
That's good. Do you have a call there, Sir Charles?
Nah, it jump off.
And then we can go straight to the poll. We might as well go to the poll because we have.
Yeah, might as well do poll one time.
Don't forget, folks, we have a special guest in the next hour, Attorney-at-Law Raisa Caesar. She'll be our guest talking about sexual harassment and all these other issues in the workplace. A program that I think it's Brent Hackshaw. Brent Hackshaw, I think it's you who asked for it, didn't you? Yes, you did. She said, gentlemen, may I express my thanks for accommodating my request to have the particular upcoming interview this morning. I hope that it brings insight to women who have been victims. Yes. And I did also tell Miss...
But women and men. Men sometimes can be victims too.
Because I think I was harassed once. Right?
Oh, God, Lord, I know you was going there, Sir Charles. I could have bet money.
I thought you was your own boss all the time.
No, I work. For most of my life, I've done 4 jobs, you know. For most of my life, I've done 4 jobs, you know. So I think I was harassed. I'm not sure.
You think you was harassed?
I think.
Then our poll this morning is: do you think that Darren Sammy should be immediately removed as head coach of the West Indies cricket team? That's our poll this morning. Do you think that Darren Sammy should be immediately removed as head coach of the West Indies cricket team? Or do you think that would be unfair? If you think no, it's no. If you think yes, it's yes. Our poll, one more time. Do you think that Darren Sammy should be immediately removed as head coach of the West Indies cricket team? That's our poll this morning. You may agree or disagree. We want to hear what you think. So 281-1315, 281-1315. That's the number you can call, direct call or WhatsApp call, or you can send a WhatsApp message with your vote. You can also vote on the streams, whether it be on Facebook or YouTube. You can vote via the comment section there. 281-1315. If you're watching us on M&E TV, you'll have to WhatsApp your vote at 281-1315. Do you think that Darren Sammy should be immediately removed as head coach of the West Indies cricket team? We're doing a sport pool this morning. I think West Indies has hurt a lot of hearts.
All right.
We have lots of votes already, Richard. You have a call, Sir Charles?
Yeah. So, caller, good morning.
Good morning to everyone there.
Full time.
I'm so glad I get you first, because since the day we lost by 27 runs, I say, how come he didn't pack his bags yet? It's about time he pack his bags and leave. So
that's a yes, Richard.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Donna Ramlo Chan says yes. Miguel Gonzalez, yes. Nazir Ali Ilarizan says yes. Kazim Mohammed, yes. Helen Prescott, yes. Alice Sahat, yes. Terence Roach, yes. Gregory Boyer, yes. Ava Smith, yes. Stella Services, yes. Suzanne Jessup, yes. Diane Payne, yes. Woo. Brent Hackshaw, okay. With so much failures, yes. Beauty Culture, yes. Brent Hackshaw, yes. Margaret Thomas, yes. Classic Brother, yes. Wendy Ann James, that's an easy yes. Marlon Motley, yes. Michael Robinson, yes. Andre Reno, yes. No solutions on the chat. Lambert Bruce, yes. Sherwin Kerr, yes. He should not have been coached for the test team at all. Agreed. Donna Ramlo Chan, don't forget our footballers. About what? Donna. Shema Paul says no. Larry Charles, yes. Yes. Hi, morning, Larry. Julia Batiste, yes. David Wares, yes. Morning, David. Barry Archer, yes. Michael Oliver, yes. Jacqueline Linfat, that's a new name also, yes. Andre, yes. Bernadette Yates, yes. Susie B, yes. Garfield Hazel, he abstained. He might be from St. Lucia. Magic, yes. Those are the votes we have thus far. We have half a minute again, but we'll keep counting your votes, of course. Terry Ann George says a big yes. I did say magic already, right? So when we come back, we'll take the other votes, and then we'll have as our guest, Attorney-at-Law Raisa Caesar. She'll be speaking to us about harassment in the workplace. All right? Don't want to miss that show, folks?
Please keep voting throughout the newscast.
Yeah. When we come back, we'll go from Ann Noel, right?
7 o'clock news is next.
The news you need. The clarity you deserve. Local, regional, global. This is Net Radio News Now.
This is your news update for Wednesday, July 16th, 2025. I am Amanda Mitchell with New Era TT Radio and M&E TV. The United National Congress will hold its internal election for political leader on August 17th, the party's national executive confirmed yesterday. Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Bissessar, who has led the party since 2010, officially announced her re-election bid, stating boldly, "If you want it, come and take it. I will be waiting." No major challenges have emerged so far. Former MPs Dr. Fuad Khan and Rushton Paray have declined to contest, while Energy Minister Dr. Rudal Munilal dismissed the idea of running, saying someone would have to be mentally deranged to challenge Persad-Bissessar. The UNC's women's and youth arms have formally endorsed her. Nomination day is July 27th. Sport and Youth Affairs Minister Philip Watts emphasized that practical and life skills are as important as academic achievements in preparing young people for the future. Speaking at the recommissioning of the Los Bajos Youth Development Center yesterday, Watts said skills like welding, event management, and hair braiding equip youth with tools to build meaningful lives. The ministry will partner with YTEP through the UTEC program to offer market-ready training at the upgraded facility, which now includes multi-purpose classrooms, a gym, digital room, kitchen, auditorium, and computer lab. A Trinidad and Tobago national, Videsh Chandu, was sentenced in Florida to 18 months in prison for smuggling firearms and ammunition into Trinidad and Tobago. The 44-year-old pleaded guilty in April to smuggling 7 pistols and 332 rounds of ammunition, which were seized by Trinidad and Tobago Customs on July 14, 2023, in Port of Spain. Chandu, a dual U.S. Trinidad and Tobago citizen, voluntarily returned to the U.S. to face charges instead of being extradited. Customs and police officers seized nearly $3 million in illegal drugs during a joint operation on Monday at a transit shed in central Trinidad. Officers found half a kilogram of MDMA worth an estimated $1.3 million and nearly 6 kilograms of marijuana valued at approximately $1.5 million. The narcotics were concealed in an imported shipment, and investigations are ongoing. You are listening to news on New Era TT Radio. In regional news, China has dismissed U.S. accusations that its $195 million loan to the Bahamas for a new hospital is a geopolitical move, calling the claims baseless and absurd. The Bahamas signed a deal with China's Export-Import Bank to fund 73% of the $267 million hospital project in New Providence. U.S. officials warned the loan could saddle the country with debt, but China insisted its support comes without political strings and benefits Bahamians. In sport, Cricket West Indies President Dr. Kishore Shallow called the West Indies' recent Test series defeat to Australia painful, but urged fans not to let it define the team's future. He announced an emergency meeting to review the series, with legends Sir Clive Lloyd, Sir Vivian Richards, and Brian Lara invited to join the Cricket Strategy Committee, alongside Dr. Shivnarine Chanderpaul, Desmond Haynes, and Ian Bradshaw. In international news, flash flooding caused by torrential rain claimed 2 lives in Plainfield, New Jersey, and forced rescues across the state, prompting Governor Phil Murphy to declare a state of emergency. Over 6 inches of rain fell within hours, flooding roads, subways, and homes. In New York City, subway stations were overwhelmed, and the city recorded its second highest hourly rainfall in over 80 years. More storms are expected across the Northeast, Florida, and Midwest. That concludes your news update for today. I'm Amanda Mitchell for New Era TT Radio and M&E TV. The Breakfast Show with Wendell, Richard, and Sir Charles continues right after this short break.
That was news now. That was news. Stay informed with New Era TT Net Radio. Net Radio.
Your mid-morning just got better. Join Sir Charles for the mid-morning mix and mingle, where good music, real talk, health, and family matters come together, and your voice is heard. Whether you're at work, on the go, or just taking a break, this is the perfect mix to keep you engaged, informed, and entertained. The mid-morning mix and mingle, weekdays, 9 a.m. to 12 noon on New Era TT Radio, Net Radio.
Men, women, tired of the invasive, painful old methods of testing prostate and breasts?
The Institute of Health and Fitness Clinic and Wellness Center offers comprehensive and non-invasive diagnostic testing, which indicates the nature and extent of diseases and tests your nutritional levels. Our quick testing can identify early signs of problems by evaluating many of the bodily functions, such as male and female sexual function, gastrointestinal function, liver function, kidney function, thyroid function, heart and brain function, and also cancer testing. Results are comparable with other medical lab tests without the use of needles or embarrassing specimen cups, and is pain-free. We also offer all natural treatments. Visit us now at number 79 St. Vincent Street, Tunapuna, or call 492-7397 or 289-6363.
Mornings just got better. You're locked into Net Radio Breakfast Show, fueling your day with the best music and real talk.
On his way to Bolton, big left-handed West Indian captain Wade tapping away at the crease. Walker is on the way, and Lloyd off the back foot crashes it through the covers. That's 4 more runs. Beautiful shot by Lloyd, full of confidence, glowing back foot shot off the meet the bat and racing away to the boundary. McCosker in the covers had no chance of getting it.
This Chinese young fella by the name of Chiwa left all the way from China because of Kerry Packer. He said he heard so much about cricket, but he wants someone to explain it. Test match between Australia and we, so we start listening to the commentary. He hear the ball swinging, he started asking about Tarzan. He want to apply for the job as the night watchman. Just then he hear single. He say like married people can't play this game. When he hear the bowler have a third man, he say them homos ain't have no shame.
The ball away from Richards, rubs his fingers in the soil, comes in once more. Richards goes back, tries to cut it out for the wicket. Marsh takes the chances, Richards tries to cut, just got a tough edge onto it, and the Australians naturally jubilant for getting the prime West Indian wicket. Richards caught Marsh, bowled by Bright for 88.
Imagine my calamity, explaining cricket to the shiny. He never see cricket before, so he starts saying stupid things in galore. Everything he want to consume, so he went and turned up the volume. With this radio blasting in my head, he continued saying things that I dread. We go to Richards a leg break. He say, boy, that game dangerous. He asked me if that means Richards getting 3 months sick leave, of course. The bowler that was spinning, he wonder if he catch Malkadi. When he hear Clive Light get the century, he say somebody take toilet paper quickly.
Morning vibes, fresh energy. This is the Net Radio Breakfast Show.
So we welcome you back inside of the Breakfast Show right here on New Era TT Radio. Thank you very much for being here with us. For those of you that came in early, thank you. For those of you who just came in, trust me, there's a whole lot more in store for you. Alright, so as we get back into the Breakfast Show, let's pay a little more bills and we will be back shortly.
S&H Rumbox, 137 Western Main Road, St. James, for all your retail and wholesale needs for alcohol and non-alcoholic beverages. Call us at 686-0599 or visit us at 137 Western Main Road, St. James. S&H Rumbox, drinking out of the box.
Advertise with us on New Era TT Radio, the fastest growing streaming platform for talk in Trinidad and Tobago. Audio and video ads welcome. Elevate your brand with us. Connect with us at neweratttradio@yahoo.com or call us at 299-5156. Now what are you waiting for?
Looking for trusted, affordable security and property services? Horatio Services has you covered across Trinidad and Tobago. We offer battle security, K9 patrols, 24/7 protection, and all sorts of private investigations discreet, professional, and effective. But that's not all. We also provide construction. From building to renovation, we bring your vision to life. Landscaping, keep your outdoors looking sharp and inviting. Maintenance, repairs, upkeep, and everything in between. At Horatio Services, you get professionalism, reliability, and personal care. Whether it's safety or property support you need, visit us at Marino Street, Arima, or call 388-7070. Today, Horatio Services, protection, precision, peace of mind.
Charmflair Auto Services Limited, your one-stop auto repair shop, located at number 1 Industrial Lane, Charmflair, right opposite the brewery on the Eastern Main Road. Yes, we do it all. Repairs to all makes and models, from your everyday sedan to SUVs, light trucks, pickups, and panel vans. We're also the sole distributors of Davanti tires, certified VTS inspection station, plus a wide range of services: oil change, front end and suspension repairs, tune-ups, tire alignment, batteries, electrical work, radiator and cooling system, AC repairs, and accessories galore. We offer pickup and drop-off service too. Call us today at 662-6545 or 662-6572. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook. Charmflair Auto Services Limited, number 1 Industrial Lane, Charmflair. We do it all.
Great news, Caribbean. The Breakfast Show is now on M&E TV, bringing you entertaining conversations, vital information, and influential perspectives throughout Trinidad and Tobago and across the Caribbean region. Catch us on Digicel Channel 20, Flow Channel 111, Amplia Channel 117, Blink Channel 109, Tricode Channel 154, and Airlink Channel 10. The Breakfast Show connects with the Caribbean and Trinidad and Tobago like never before. We're now on M&E TV.
All right, so we are back on the Breakfast Show this morning. And of course, we continued our poll for a little bit and close off on our poll before we get into our guest. Will be joining us at 7:20 a.m. And so she's not yet backstage, but I assume she will closer to 7:20 a.m. Because that's the new start time of our interviews, according to the boss when there's TV.
I get to be boss at one thing, at least that's not a bad thing.
So our poll this morning: do you think that Darren Sammy should be immediately removed as head coach of the West Indies cricket team? That's our poll this morning. So we're still taking your votes, and well, Mendel will now read what we didn't cover in the last hour.
Yes, I have from Ann Noel, says yes, time for him to go. Quasi Evans says yes. Jason Biscuit says the games so far do not offer sufficient sample size. Okay, so he's not voting on this one. Claire Lendo Rollins says yes. Morgans just says good morning. Barry Archer said West Indies should stop playing cricket for 10 years and concentrate. Well, a man said yesterday, dig up all the pitch and plant dashing and marijuana. Kelcha Cambridge says yes. When do you ever factor them guys with the lighter? I don't know, who West Indies cricketers? I'm not sure. Evans David says yes. Wayne Ramsey, yes. Prabha Ramdale, morning, have a great day. Wendy Ann says all should resign. Lenroy Cunningham says yes. Jason Samuel says yes. And Ram Naresh also says yes. All right?
All right. So on the WhatsApp, we have... Mr. Beatty says yes. Frank Andrews says yes. Everybody say yes. Wait. Long Islander says yes. Junior says yes. Colin in Canada says immediately yes. Kenwin, yes. Horatio says abstain. I know. Maybe Horatio, yeah, abstain. Zena said yes. Archbishop Ashton Clark says yes. Joseph Clement says no. Right. Pauline also says no. And Sean Ram says yes. That's it.
All right.
You have any more that just snuck in, Wendell, or is that
No,
it?
after Ram Naresh, he says keep Ram Paul, but he says yes.
All right, so we our poll this morning. Do you think that Darren Sammy should be immediately removed as head coach of the West Indies cricket team? We had 56 people voting on the poll this morning. In the allotted time of the 56 people, 53 of you said yes, he should be immediately removed. 3 of you said no, hold up, give the guy a chance. You can only make magic with what you have. So 53 said yes, and 3 said no. That's it for our poll. The yeas have it for this morning, but don't be despondent, Darren Sammy. The West Indies Cricket Board is in your corner. That's it for our poll this morning. If you're watching, Mr. Sammy, you could call us.
Yep. We gladly do a cricket interview. As a matter of fact, if we could get
defend your reputation.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, we have an interview lined up for you folks, an interview that a lot of people have been waiting on for a long, long time. Her name is Ms. Raisa Caesar. She's an attorney at law. She is an attorney at law with almost 16 years experience, called to the bar in 2009. She holds a master's in corporate and commercial law with merit from the University of London. She also obtained a government scholarship and went on to read for a Bachelor of Law at the University of the West Indies. After completing a legal education certificate at Hugh Wooden Law School with merit, she joined the Solicitor General's Department of the Ministry of the Attorney General, where she spent over 5 years. She appeared in numerous civil and public law matters, thereby honing her trial skills. She also appeared in matters concerning the official receiver and in the industrial court. All right, so she is of great repute. She is coming to speak to us this morning about a topic that is a hot topic these days in Trinidad and Tobago. It's been a hot topic for a while, but it's even hotter these days. It's on fire, you know. And I remember, let me leave that alone.
Yeah, we're getting into our Let's Talk segment at this point with Miss Raisa Caesar. Miss Caesar, good morning, and thanks for joining us on the breakfast show this morning.
Hi, good morning, gentlemen. It's a pleasure to be here with you this morning. Thanks for having me.
Morning, Miss Caesar, and thanks for joining us. You've been a sought after person. This interview has been a sought after interview by many people for a while, since we started this show. You know, so
Okay.
It's a pleasure having you here this morning.
Well, that's good. I'm happy to be able to add to the discourse on this topic, as it's very pertinent in terms of the current events in our country and, well, across the world and region right now anyway. So I'm happy to share some insights and some of my hot takes, or maybe not so hot takes, on the issue. So,
You know, I suppose we could start off with the issue of what constitutes sexual harassment, because you know sometimes it's a blurry line for some people, and I know some progressive workplaces would have sexual harassment policies or policies governing behavior in the work office. Let me put it that way: governing behavior. So some will say, "I like how that dress fitting you this morning." You know, they may say comments like that. Is that a sexual harassment or is that a compliment? You know, those blurry edges. So if you could kind of contextualize the beginning of the interview about what that behavior in the workplace, what's expected, and what starts to cross the line from a legal point of view.
Well, that's a wonderful question and a good way to contextualize the discussion. So in terms of dealing with sexual harassment, it can be a very insidious issue because, you know, as you rightly said, what does it really constitute? What are the lines? And you always have a cultural context to consider. But thankfully, the industrial court has helped us to give us some guidance in that regard. So there was actually a seminal 1995 case in our industrial court, which, as I hope the viewers would know, is the court or the tribunal that is available to deal with employment issues once you are a member of a union. So a union can represent you before that court. In the 1995 case I'm speaking about, they drew on some Canadian case law because at that time there was no real precedent for it within our jurisdiction in terms of getting that definition. So in drawing from that Canadian case law, they said that sexual harassment can be defined as where in the workplace an unwelcome conduct of a sexual nature that is detrimentally affects the work environment and leads to adverse job-related consequences for the victim of harassment. It is an abuse of power. So it's very important to contextualize the definition in terms of it being an abuse of power, as opposed to simply considering it, what act and what act is not. So for instance, there was another UK case where there were some technical staff working in a lab, and two of those officers were brushing against the female officer. And this action was designed to cause her to quit the job, to put that pressure. So that's where we see in the definition that detrimental effect on the work environment is a very important element. So, of course, in that same 1995 case in our jurisdiction and industrial court, they did also consider the issue of picong, or of, what was our local context, which is very important. In Trinidad society, even on the workplace, we have that sort of, you put a little jab in, a little joke in, and whether that in itself would constitute sexual harassment. So, of course, we have to, whilst we look at the Canadian jurisprudence, because they have a similar, jurisprudence to our own, we must look at that local context. However, on the facts of the case, where the facts detailed, like, a kiss of appreciation for helping him with something for work, a slap on the rear end, a touch on the waist, nicknames, jokes, those things were clearly found to be outside of what would be, even in a cultural context, allowed. And therefore, those things were in fact found to be sexual harassment. So we do have some guidance in our jurisdiction as to what the definition is and is not. But as you mentioned, it's very important for employers to have policies that really lay out the guidelines. So in the case I mentioned, again, that 1995 case, because the company did have a policy and it was a corporate structure, a large corporate enterprise in Trinidad and Tobago. So they really could not tolerate that sort of action, and he was dismissed, and the industrial court did uphold that dismissal.
In terms of what you just said there, Ms. Caesar, the issues of can't remember the exact wording you said, but of the affecting your work performance.
Detrimentally affects the work environment, yes. Yeah,
detrimentally affects the work environment, and also the power play that can also operate. But for clarity, does the power play always have to be in the configuration, or it doesn't? Because you may have employees of equal stature where a certain amount of harassment is taking place, but then you also have the power play structure where it's the boss, and you feel intimidated to even report it to HR or whoever the agency or division is in your respective workplace, because you believe there's going to be a level of vindictiveness against you. So yes, if you could contextualize that. Yeah.
Yes, sure. And I really am appreciating your question. So in terms of the power play, I was having a discussion with one of my colleagues with the Equal Opportunity Commission. And one of the important messages that they want to make sure that is out there is that you can have sexual harassment both on a lateral scale, meaning of employees of a similar level. And that's why I mentioned that case from the UK where there were the technicians on the same level. But you can also have that horizontal movement in terms of from the boss or manager to the employee or the subordinate. A recent example came up in our jurisdiction again, which was another seminal case from the Equal Opportunity an appeal from the Equal Opportunity Tribunal that was heard in the Court of Appeal. I believe the decision came out in 2022 thereabout. And our Court of Appeal made an interesting finding where they found that a supervisor had been sexually harassing a male employee. So again, a lot of important points coming out from that case. One of the important things that was noted was that the company, again, another prominent company in Trinidad and Tobago, was found liable or vicariously liable for the actions of the supervisor that were left unchecked. And because it eventually resulted in the employee feeling that his eventual termination was as a result of the complaint that he had made. And so to answer your question, yes, you can have that lateral movement in terms of sexual harassment, as in, if there's competition for a job, like in the case of those technicians that I mentioned, or you can have that, superior imposing it upon a subordinate member of staff. In the case of a subordinate member of staff, the important thing is that report. So that mechanism, that the company needs to have that mechanism that that subordinate member of staff feels comfortable or knows of the ability or the availability of access to that recourse, that grievance procedure within the company structure. So that is a very important matter, and it also lends to comments coming out of that 1995 case where the employer has that duty of care in terms of creating that safe work environment. So because the employer has that duty of care, it has even been argued, if we look at the guidelines put out from the Equal Opportunity Commission, that that duty of care can even extend under the OSHA legislation, the Occupational Safety and Health Act. So that is the important structure to understand, that yes, it can be lateral and horizontal, and two, that reporting procedure is important in both instances to ensure that the employee feels that there's recourse and there's mechanisms to address their concerns.
But let's hi, Ms. Caesar again. Hi. I want to try to be a little more specific this morning in terms of, because I know you're dealing with a generic environment. Let's say someone is harassed in the workplace by virtue of the ways that you just described. How are they to move forward? Like if they come to you as an attorney, how are they to move forward in terms of what type of evidence you would want to hear from them? Would you want to hear that they have said no on how many occasions, or they've said no once, or they protested, or they complained? What type of evidence you would require to move forward on a case like that?
Very good question, because sometimes people are afraid because they feel as if there is no recourse, or they are afraid because they feel as if their issue is minimal. But what is important is that there must be an environment created by the employer where the employees feel safe to come forward. So that mechanism, we have two guidelines within our jurisdiction. We have an equal opportunity sexual harassment policy, and that was put out by the Equal Opportunity Commission, and we have a national policy. And when you look at both of those policies, there's a focus on that mechanism. So reporting is an important part of it. So having those incidences where you reported it, if you don't feel comfortable to tell your immediate supervisor, there should be an HR person, or there should be some sort of institution within the organization created to deal with those complaints. So that is the first thing, reporting and having that record of the instances. In terms of what needs to be said, that can get tricky. So in terms of course, you should be able to say no, and we want to promote that. For instance, our national policy sets out talking about zones. So there's the intimate zone, which is 16 to 18 inches, where it should really only be reserved for the closest of family members, your significant other. There's the friend zone, which is 18 to 46 inches. There's the social zone, which is 4 to 12 feet, and the audience zone, which is 12 feet to 3.5 meters. So when we have those sort of specifics, as you say, that sort of establish what is the correct behavioral standards that are acceptable in a workplace, it helps to take a lot of the guesswork out of it. So that is why it's really that good that we have those policies in place. And I'm glad that I'm, brought here so that we can bring further awareness that those policies do exist, and that employers can avail themselves of those resources in developing their own policies. So if we know that the intimate zone is 6 to 18 inches, and the person reports that your conduct falls within, encroaching the intimate zone, then we can say, well, all right, there needs to be an investigation of this. And if there's no plausible explanation as to why that took place, we understand that there's implication there. So we do have those level of specifics based on the policies, and of course, reporting, as the young people say, receipts. We don't want people to feel, because it's a balancing act, right? So we don't want people to feel that because I am making this note or taking this screenshot of the situation, that they are being conniving. No, they are being informed and they are being empowered to do what they think they need to do to protect themselves. So I would ask, if I were the lawyer being asked to deal with the matter, I would ask for you to get screenshots of any, if there were any social media or electronic communications that, are part of the, what you are considering the harassment, for that to be produced. I would ask for you to bring any reports that you would have made forward. And of course, corroboration. So even in that 1995 case that I spoke about, the main allegation was brought by a Mrs. M, but there were 2 other allegations. And whilst they did not give evidence on the stand, because there was record of their other complaints, it created that, a trend in terms of that person who had been accused. So of course, if there's more than one allegation, it lends to the cogency of the complaint. So that's why we want to encourage people to come forward, because the more people come forward, there's that strength, of course, in numbers.
Yeah. In terms of that Court of Appeal decision where you said, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, that the company was also held liable in terms of their relationship and neglecting to treat it seriously. I think for a lot of companies and heads of companies who are listening to this program, it reinforces the importance of having a policy, because it means that the company can be held liable for the actions that are reported but are not dealt with in an efficacious manner. So that issue of company liability is what I think will motivate employers more, that policy is needed.
Oh yes, because just to reiterate, that case law and also the recent 2002 case from the Court of Appeal both establish that the employer has that duty of care, both under what we call the common law, meaning through the case law over the years, and also through what we call, statutory underpinning the OSHA Act. So in both of those cases, a duty of care has been established. And if you don't have the right mechanisms in place, you can be held liable. So what happened in the Court of Appeal case, just for completeness, is that they have to send it back to the Equal Opportunity Tribunal for it to be completed. And I haven't seen the record of what was completed, but definitely the employer was put in place as the person to defend the claim. So of course, there's that risk of liability against the employer.
I wanted to just a second. I wanted to get a sense of how broad harassment can be in company policies, because you may have sexual harassment, which is the obvious one, whether it be male, female, whoever is being sexually harassed, and all of the, what's a good statement, what's a bad statement. So really, you should just shut up and say nothing. I mean, obviously, that should be the bench line. But you also have other sorts of harassment. You have harassment with regard to race. You may have harassment with regard to sexual orientation. You may have those kinds of harassment that take place in the workplace. Do company policies, in your experience, generally cover those things, or is there a general trend to deal only with sexual harassment?
That is a very good question. Now, the Equal Opportunities Act definitely deals with the status in terms of discrimination. And under status, you have race, origin, a number of different factors that fall under status. Yes, but unfortunately, or that can be up for debate, the legislatures have chosen to specifically exclude sexual orientation from under the meaning of the Equal Opportunity Act. Now, I know that there have been a lot of discussion with the Equal Opportunity Commission and the LGBTQ community. So hopefully, there will be progression there. But interestingly, in the Court of Appeal case that I mentioned, there was an issue regarding the gentleman's sexuality raised before the tribunal. And they were saying that because that, there was certain insinuations about his sexuality, that he will therefore not fall under the act. But because the Court of Appeal held that because his supervisor, who was the alleged perpetrator, was in fact a female and he was a male, his sexuality did not come into play in their making the decision that there was discrimination. However, to get around any issues with the legislation, a lot of companies have imposed their own policies with regard to sexual orientation to make sure that there is protection there. Because, for instance, if we have international companies operating in Trinidad and Tobago, they will be held to the standard of the international community as opposed to just in Trinidad alone. So a lot of international companies that operate here still have policies that deal with sexual orientation as well. However, the guidelines set by the Equal Opportunity Commission do set out various forms of sexual harassment, and there's also different forms of discrimination found in other policies. So yes, I would say yes, especially companies that have that international presence have those overarching policies. But in terms of on a more local scale, I think there is more work that can be done in terms of having more all-encompassing policies.
Ms. Caesar, where do we draw the line in terms of what could be considered sexual harassment? And I'll give you some examples. One example is in the chat about a boss walking around bareback, let's say on a construction site, a male worker wearing a pants that may be considered too tight, or female worker wearing a skirt that may be considered too short. Where do we draw the line in terms of that level of maybe subconscious harassment?
Well, luckily, we do have some guidance, again, from our Equal Opportunity Commission policy. They have under 2.11 of their guidelines, forms of sexual harassment. So they say it can manifest in a number of ways, and they list them. So they have number one, misuse of sexual behavior and requests for sexual favors when it is made a condition of employment or promotion. So, sometimes they say, you scratch my back, I scratch your back, or the Latin would be quid pro quo. That would mean that, okay, if you, it might be insinuated, if you do this for me, you will be considered, greater for this promotion or for this opportunity. So that is definitely considered a form of sexual harassment. Then you have number two, physical sexual harassment. That is the more obvious type, with the sexual violence or unwelcome physical contact. And from the cases that I brought forward, it's insidious. It's not just necessarily of a, outward, outward, or a very express sexual act. It can be something like you're kissing somebody on the neck. It can be something like you're massaging their shoulders. It can be something like a tap on the rear end, as we saw. It can be that brushing past. Anything designed to make that person feel uncomfortable that has that sexual connotation can be considered under that heading.
But stick up in there. Why I specifically asked the question I asked, because you hear comments that, oh, she looked for that because of the tight dress or the short skirt she wearing. Oh, he looked for that because of the tight pants he wearing, or because of how he can. You hear these things. How do you deal with something like that in a workplace?
Right. Well, in a workplace, of course, we want professionalism from all staff. So if there's need in that environment to have a uniform or some sort of dress code, that can be addressed as a separate matter. But in terms of sexual harassment, what we must remember in the definition set in the Canadian case I mentioned is the issue of an abuse of power. So it matters not really what the person was wearing or what they were doing once they were not inviting sexual contact. So once the person was not inviting sexual contact, literally by a consensual position, once once there's no policy against that sort of consensual position within the organization. So once there's no consensual position, what somebody is wearing is of no moment.
Okay, well, I'm happy to hear, because I'm sure that you would have heard that frequently.
Yes, because there's that there's that rationalization, they call it, in the industrial court, in terms of because the industrial court is a multifaceted court. They have lawyers in that court, but they also have people of different backgrounds. And one of the judges mentioned that issue of rationalization, which is a psychological term. And that kind of means that you're trying to justify the actions by way of, saying, well, it was just friendly. It was just a joke. If she, one person was saying, well, she worked out in the gym, so I was complimenting her physique. All of these things are rationalizations, but the real test is the person feeling like their career is at detriment, meaning they don't feel comfortable to come to work, and they have to come to work to make their money. So that is really what is important.
So it's basically up to the receiver, the person who's receiving these messages, or how they receive it, how they perceive it.
Well, no. And that is why we have the different forms of sexual harassment. It would be the misuse of sexual behavior, physical sexual harassment, verbal, non-verbal, written or graphic sexual harassment. That would be, by text message, calls, that sort of thing. Psychological sexual harassment. And this is where you may get some assistance. Repeated unwanted proposal and taunts of a sexual nature. So for instance, if somebody gives you a simple compliment, right, that is literally stated in the Equal Opportunities Commission guidelines as acceptable. So if somebody says, hey, you look nice today. Hey, I like that dress, or that color is nice on you. That is not necessarily sexual harassment. But for instance, if somebody says, I prefer if you don't pay me those compliments, right? And that's what we want people to feel empowered to be able to do. And the person keeps doing it, then that would become an unwanted interaction, which again may then lend to that definition of detrimental to the work experience, because the person has indicated expressly that they do not want that level of communication with you, and you are insisting upon it.
Oh, if I can interrupt you, sorry to interrupt you, Ms. Caesar. So that issue, because it becomes so, the lines become so blurry, because like how you said, and I think probably the key is that the person says, stop it, or the person says, I don't appreciate that comment, because an innocuous statement like, I like how you look today, or you look really nice today, that's an innocuous, innocent statement. But it can also be dependent on tone. You look nice today. Clean, innocent.
Well,
and then you could have a tone that says, you look nice today.
Exactly. And that is why record keeping is important. So if you are making a complaint, all of those contextual issues have to be presented within the complaint, because, to get that context would only be based on what exactly is reported.
Right.
And of course, admittedly, there are difficulties, because a lot of times people do not feel empowered to make complaints. So, as you said, be careful is really the best answer I can give. It's a work environment. Be careful with your conduct, because someone might not necessarily say no. So like one of the instances, the person came, made the advance to the person, and the person just got up and left. They didn't necessarily say no, but their actions signify that they were not appreciative of the conduct. So again, that report would give that full context of what took place, so that we can see contextually that the person was not acquiescing or agreeing to the communication. And also just the idea of being careful about your professional conduct. It is a work environment, so you want to make sure that persons are not feeling uncomfortable by your actions. We just have to be aware on both sides, that this is the environment that we live in now, that, people can feel uncomfortable about certain actions, and we have to be careful.
There was a post by a young lady who was a former attorney, and she talked about the power. Of course, in the legal profession, the power dynamic is very clear, and the seniority hierarchy is very clear in the legal profession. Is the legal profession more susceptible in a kind of way for that power dynamic sexual harassment issue?
So I was putting some thought to that recently. Of course, with the elephant in the room, the current climate, and I unfortunately think that it is, because of the fact that seniority is placed at a very high value in our profession, and because whilst someone who is in a senior legal position may wield a lot of power and influence in terms of the outcome of a young attorney's career, there is not that necessary mechanism that might be found in a corporate structure, for instance, for that reporting and that sort of complaints process. So if you are working with a senior counsel, and I'm just making a very, broad example, if you are working with a senior counsel, who then do you report this to? I'm talking a lot about reporting, and I'm talking a lot about mechanisms. But if your employer is the person imposing the unwanted sexual contact onto you, and you don't have anyone to report to, you are a young attorney, you're now coming into the profession, it can be a very difficult environment to be in. So it is somewhere, similar to the entertainment industry, for instance, where persons wield a lot of power in their individual, the individual person may wield a lot of power, and there may not be that, mechanism to report that person. What I would say, and based on my own experience and putting that thought this morning and having to come, because I knew that might come up, I think that idea of mentorship is very important for young attorneys. So even if you have an employer, especially for the female context, because I am a female attorney, still relatively young, let's say. I know that the importance of having female mentors is a very important element in the legal profession. That whilst we still operate within a fairly patriarchal system, whilst most of the graduates from law school now are female, you still do find that a lot of times there is that imbalance in terms of male dominance, in the profession. So I would say having that female network where you can have a group of females that you can turn to, that you can, voice concerns with, that will support you, is very important.
The fact that this is your profession and people come to you with complaints like this, who would you say you get more complaints from? The military services, like the TTPS, quasi-military and so on, the legal profession, the political profession? Who would you say you get more complaints from?
Well, interestingly, the complaints, unfortunately, and I was even liaising with some colleagues at the Equal Opportunity Commission, and I was looking at the statistics in our national policy. The statistics are very low. So, for instance, within the Equal Opportunity Commission, in terms of sexual harassment cases, there might be 1 or 2 per year. In terms of in the industrial court, I think the latest statistics were about 4 a year. So it's very low. And that is why I actually felt it was really important to have this discussion, that people understand that there is recourse to be had. You hear the anecdotes of the complaints, but them actually materializing to a formal complaint within the court process it's quite low. Where you do have more complaints is within the tribunal procedures in an employment setting. So that's where we would have more representation. And I think that it's across the board there in terms of different organizations, different and maybe that's a good thing, because maybe what is happening is that the mechanisms within the employment structure are dealing with it before it gets to the courts.
Yeah.
So in terms of...
Are you willing to take some calls? Just a second, minute. Are you willing to take some calls, Ms. Caesar?
Yeah, let's try. I can assist.
We'll open up our lines. While Wendell asks this question, we'll open up the lines 281-1315, 281-1315, 281-1315. You can get interactive in the discussion.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Wendell.
Is it that you would recommend that companies, business places, go to people like yourself or people who are engaged in this activity to ensure that they come in and speak with their workers? I mean, you're speaking to a lot of people here today, right? But in an environment where somebody may feel intimidated, would you recommend that companies do such a thing?
Of course. And both our policies under the Equal Opportunity Commission and the national policy, there's a concept called dissemination, which is where they want the information to be out there about what mechanisms are available, what are your rights. That is a very important pillar of understanding and addressing sexual harassment, that people know what their rights are. So, of course, and part of that duty of care of the employers would be to educate their staff, communicate the right procedures to their staff, make sure everyone is aware of the policies. All of those things are very crucial to ensuring that, one, the employer actually satisfies that duty of care, and two, to comply with that national mandate in terms of what is required to ensure, that our workplaces in the country are free from sexual harassment.
All right, we have a couple of callers online. Caller, good morning to you. Go ahead.
Yeah, hi, morning. My question is, although you were talking about the physical distances and the touching and stuff, but if like in the environment, men changing rooms, I'm a sensitive man, maybe morally, I'm a Christian or Muslim but there's all this pornography around me. Is that a kind of harassment to me in some way? Men we have these poses. It could be women too, but thing, and this idea of creating the environment, a sexually charged environment, even without touching, because photography, pornography, words, these kind of explicit types of things. So is that something that I could say, hey, this is not, because we have, in the house you're walking around, you have your helper there, and you coming out the bathroom, and which, you can put on a shirt and I have to be cognizant of those things. Is those things could be considered, because you're creating some discomfort.
Right. So
Okay. Thanks, Dean.
thanks for the question. Just making sure I have the full question, which is whether pornographic material in a workplace environment can be considered a form of sexual harassment. Am I getting it right?
Yeah. And
Yeah.
putting up pictures and things like that
Yes.
in the environment.
So most definitely. So under the written and or graphic sexual harassment, displays of sexually explicit photographs and pornographic material falls under that heading directly. So if you are being made to feel uncomfortable in your workplace by the dissemination of pornographic material and images, that can definitely fall under sexual harassment. So it would be incumbent upon you to report that and to ensure that that does not continue. In terms of our local jurisprudence as well, whilst it was not sexual harassment and it fell under a relationship, there was an issue with regard to the within a relationship, a couple broke up and the young man would have published the certain sexual photographs that were taken of the young woman, and the court in Trinidad and Tobago also found that that was a breach of confidence and awarded significant damages in regard to that kind of conduct as well. So sometimes there may be blackmailing, if we want to bring it to a workplace context, of persons using sexual images that were gotten maybe without consent. And those things, of course, can again attract significant damages. And those things, again, would be considered sexual harassment in a work context.
What the caller went off. But I would like to just expand on that a little bit. Because when we think about it, we think maybe the relevant, the normal run-of-the-mill jobs, the other certain places. But what about places like bars, clubs, and other things like that, that may have, and casinos that may be having those kinds of things displayed? Does that fall under that restriction also?
Okay, so sexual harassment can also come from third parties who interact with an organization. So that is actually a very good question and context to bring in. So, for instance, it can come from persons within the organization, but it can also come from persons who are interacting with the organization. So if there's that foreseeability that certain persons will interact with your employees, I think that there's still that duty on the employer to create that protection, because it will be within the workplace context. So for bars and casinos, again, there's context in terms of, there may be, if there's a waitress, she's being friendly, she's attending to the table, but there's still a line to be drawn. And that line can be established by the employer in terms of, again, having policies, simple thing like having a sign up as to certain what is permissible, what is not permissible, and that can be addressed. So even within the context of entertainment, there's still, what can be considered appropriate and not appropriate within that context.
Yeah. Hold one minute. You have a call? I think there's an important question someone just asked in the chat. He says, if an employee is a witness to sexual harassment between two other employees, can that employee report it?
Of course. So under the policies, there's a concept of the observer. So in terms of the observer being a key element to the mechanisms for addressing sexual harassment. So there should be within the policy, the company policy created, mechanisms to protect observers, whether it might be, whether certain statements can be taken anonymously, whether there can be a call, a hotline to report it. All of these mechanisms can be worked out. Now, of course, you have to balance anonymous reporting and these things against the person who's accused rights. But there are ways to try to, build in that natural justice element. So whilst, the report might be anonymous, they will have to put certain specifics that the person will at least know what they have to address and what they have to answer. So, there will be that fine balancing act. And that's why it may be helpful to get some sort of advice in terms of the policy, get human resource advice, industrial relations advice, and legal advice in terms of creating a complete policy to address that issue. But yes, observers are very important.
Okay. I think it's important to have you back, Miss Caesar, because the person who initiated one of the persons who initiated this program is a guy called Brent Axel. He says he's been trying to call in but not getting in. And Steph saying is also we should have a part 2 of this topic. So clearly a lot of people may be interested, and I think what we'll do the next time we have you is encourage more calls as opposed to us talking to you and so on. Because unless if you're okay with that.
Sure, that should be helpful.
Right.
So we can get some practical examples.
This caller very quickly. Caller, good morning to you.
Good morning. I think one of the very good interview this morning, gentlemen. I think one of the things you also forgot to touch on is exactly what is contextualized as sexual harassment, because I understand some friends of mine had some situation where they would compliment a female worker every day. All the female workers in the office. One in particular reported him for sexual harassment. Good morning, you look nice, you smell nice this morning. He would do that with all the workers in the office. One in particular felt that it was sexual harassment. So I think an example or a guideline as to what sexual harassment is need to be defined, because she felt that telling her that every day was sexual harassment.
Yeah, but we discussed this at the beginning of the interview, The beginning of the interview.
I just cannot wake up, to be honest with you. So my apologies then.
Yeah, go back to the issue.
We talk about that. We talk about where is the line?
Yeah. And the repeated. So just to add, we would have addressed the definition and the different types, but just to add to what we've already said, that idea of the repeated. So maybe the fact that it was happening every day is what might have been, a deciding factor in that matter in terms of the employee considering it to be sexual harassment in that context, just to give a practical answer to that caller.
Yeah. Ms. Caesar, but this is where we have to end the conversation this morning as we go to our news. But thank you so much for the conversation. It was very interesting. And I think we really need to have you back and take more calls, because I think people will have, just to clarify, and I think it's also important for employers and company heads who are listening, whether legal or otherwise, that this kind of conversation is important in having clear policies so that you mitigate that, because some people don't feel empowered. Some people feel like, look, this is my bread and butter, and I'll just have to ban the belly because I have 2 children at home that I had to deal with. It gets down to as basic as that.
Indeed. So I'm happy that you all thought it, important to have me on today, because just spreading that awareness adds to that, environment of empowerment. So I'm very thankful for the opportunity, and perhaps we get to do it again.
We will do it again.
Yeah.
Thanks, Ms. Caesar.
Take care. So I'm off. Have a good day, everyone.
All right, you too.
We go to the 8 o'clock news now, and when we come back, we'll allow Richard to close off.
Well, that was Ms. Raisa Caesar, who was speaking with us concerning sexual harassment and harassment in the workplace, and an interesting interview. So, of course, we will have her back. But at this point, of course, we go to our 8 o'clock news, which is a little late, but you know how we do it.
The news you need, the clarity you deserve. Local, regional, global. This is Net Radio News Now.
This is your news update for Wednesday, July 16th, 2025. I am Amanda Mitchell with New Era TT Radio and M&E TV. The United National Congress will hold its internal election for political leader on August 17th, the party's national executive confirmed yesterday. Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Bissessar, who has led the party since 2010, officially announced her re-election bid, stating boldly, "If you want it, come and take it. I will be waiting." No major challenges have emerged so far. Former MPs Dr. Fuad Khan and Rushton Parey have declined to contest, while Energy Minister Dr. Rudal Munilal dismissed the idea of running, saying someone would have to be mentally deranged to challenge Persad-Bissessar. The UNC's women's and youth arms have formally endorsed her. Nomination day is July 27th. Sport and Youth Affairs Minister Philip Watts emphasized that practical and life skills are as important as academic achievements in preparing young people for the future. Speaking at the recommissioning of the Los Bajos Youth Development Center yesterday, Watts said skills like welding, event management, and hair braiding equip youth with tools to build meaningful lives. The ministry will partner with YTEP through the UTEC program to offer market-ready training at the upgraded facility, which now includes multi-purpose classrooms, a gym, digital room, kitchen, auditorium, and computer lab. A Trinidad and Tobago national, Videsh Chandu, was sentenced in Florida to 18 months in prison for smuggling firearms and ammunition into Trinidad and Tobago. The 44-year-old pleaded guilty in April to smuggling 7 pistols and 332 rounds of ammunition, which were seized by Trinidad and Tobago Customs on July 14, 2023, in Port of Spain. Chandu, a dual U.S. Trinidad and Tobago citizen, voluntarily returned to the U.S. to face charges instead of being extradited. Customs and police officers seized nearly $3 million in illegal drugs during a joint operation on Monday at a transit shed in central Trinidad. Officers found half a kilogram of MDMA worth an estimated $1.3 million and nearly 6 kilograms of marijuana valued at approximately $1.5 million. The narcotics were concealed in an imported shipment, and investigations are ongoing. You are listening to news on New Era TT Radio. In regional news, China has dismissed U.S. accusations that its $195 million loan to the Bahamas for a new hospital is a geopolitical move, calling the claims baseless and absurd. The Bahamas signed a deal with China's Export-Import Bank to fund 73% of the $267 million hospital project in New Providence. U.S. officials warned the loan could saddle the country with debt, but China insisted its support comes without political strings and benefits Bahamians. In sport, Cricket West Indies President Dr. Kishore Shallow called the West Indies' recent Test series defeat to Australia painful, but urged fans not to let it define the team's future. He announced an emergency meeting to review the series, with legends Sir Clive Lloyd, Sir Vivian Richards, and Brian Lara invited to join the Cricket Strategy Committee, alongside Dr. Shivnarine Chandapal, Desmond Haynes, and Ian Bradshaw. In international news, flash flooding caused by torrential rain claimed 2 lives in Plainfield, New Jersey, and forced rescues across the state, prompting Governor Phil Murphy to declare a state of emergency. Over 6 inches of rain fell within hours, flooding roads, subways, and homes. In New York City, subway stations were overwhelmed, and the city recorded its second highest hourly rainfall in over 80 years. More storms are expected across the Northeast, Florida, and Midwest. That concludes your news update for today. I'm Amanda Mitchell for New Era TT Radio and M&E TV. The Breakfast Show with Wendell, Richard, and Sir Charles continues right after this short break.
That was news now. Stay informed with New Era TT Radio. Net Radio.
Charmflair Auto Services Limited, your one-stop auto repair shop, located at number 1 Industrial Lane, Charmflair, right opposite the brewery on the Eastern Main Road. Yes, we do it all. Repairs to all makes and models, from your everyday sedan to SUVs, light trucks, pickups, and panel vans. We're also the sole distributors of Devantry tires, certified VTS inspection station, plus a wide range of services: oil change, front end and suspension repairs, tune-ups, tire alignment, batteries, electrical work, radiator and cooling system, AC repairs, and accessories galore. We offer pickup and drop-off service too. Call us today at 662-6545 or 662-6572. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook. Charmflair Auto Services Limited, number 1 Industrial Lane, Charmflair. We do it all.
S&H Rumbox, 137 Western Main Road, St. James, for all your retail and wholesale needs for alcohol and non-alcoholic beverages. Call us at 686-0599 or visit us at 137 Western Main Road, St. James. S&H Rumbox, drinking out of the box.
Looking for trusted, affordable security and property services? Horatio Services has you covered across Trinidad and Tobago. We offer battle security, canine patrols, 24/7 protection, and all sorts of private investigations, discreet, professional, and effective. But that's not all. We also provide construction. From building to renovation, we bring your vision to life. Landscaping, keep your outdoors looking sharp and inviting. Maintenance, repairs, upkeep, and everything in between. At Horatio Services, you get professionalism, reliability, and personal care. Whether it's safety or property support you need, visit us at Marino Street, Arima, or call 388-7070. Today, Horatio Services, protection, precision, peace of mind.
You know,
of course, this is where we end the breakfast.
No, we ain't end yet. We ain't end yet. You are like that end too fast. Cool yourself.
Yeah,
I have to tell you,
cut off.
I have to tell you that this is the very first time in our chat that we have total agreement on that on an interview that we've done. Total positive responses from everybody. Far Rockaway, Ava Smith, Brent Hackshaw, Scorpion Pepper, DL, Dean Allen, you name it, Crash, Steph, everybody totally agreed that that was an excellent interview. And I have to tell you, Ms. Caesar has agreed to come back next week, Wednesday, God willing. And we'll take your calls because I know a lot of people want to get through and a lot of people have questions and questions we may have missed. I know a lot of people are interested. And this is a hot topic. I don't know why, but and it belies the statistics that Ms. Caesar would have reported that is coming from the Equal Opportunities Commission about complaints. You understand? It's very few. So maybe people may be emboldened now to say, hey, but I need to do this. I need to put a stop to this nonsense that's been happening around me. You know.
All right, so this is where we come to end of the breakfast show. Have a fantastic day, whatever you do, and remember to smile and laugh. It's great for your health.
So, Charles, you saw that?
You stop your rant there, no, and
yeah.
Yeah, and of course you can continue on the stream New Era ttradio.com, and of course New Era TT Radio on TuneIn.
Folks, have an absolutely wonderful day. Remember, you've got one life. You gotta live it.
This has been the
Breakfast Show.
Breakfast Show. Have a great day, people.
Yeah. Yeah.